right, this is John Colo with growingyourgreens.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and I want to show you guys one of the most amazing schools that I've ever visited, and I hope this can be a model for other schools around our country to institute programs like they're doing at this one, and we'll even share with you guys how kind of some of this started actually. So today I'm here at the North Florida School of Special Education at 223 Mill Creek Road. And this is a school that helps kids with intellectual and developmental differences. And this school was started in 1992 and currently has about 250 students from the ages of 6 to 22, and then they work with about 100 basically graduate students from the program to actually employ them through the various micro businesses they started to get the students working. And of course, the reason why I'm here today is to show you guys how they teach the students, but then also more importantly, the graduates, and help them create jobs and positions and volunteers that work on the farm and create an income to keep these programs going. Of course, a lot of these programs are not fully funded at this time from the micro businesses, so that is their goal, and they rely on many different volunteers and also donors that support the mission of the school. So this school has a few different programs. First, they started with the gardening program, teaching kids about growing food. Then they actually kind of transition that into getting them into farming and creating a micro business around the farming. And then more recently, they incorporated the animals into the program, to help get the students integrated and connected with the animals. And they were just recently, this last weekend, featured in the Jacksonville local paper on the full front page, talking about basically the little mini horses and helping the students here to read. So, it's some amazing work they're doing here, and I hope that other schools, whether it's a special education school or not, would adopt some of these programs because they are so important for us. So let's head over and share with you guys a few words at the barn where they house all different kinds of animals that the students get to interact with on a daily basis. All right, guys, so you guys can see behind me, we got a big barn, and this is the Dolores Bar Weaver Therapeutic Equestrian Center, where they not just have the large horses that the students get to ride, learn how to take care of, and whatnot, which actually calms them down a lot. Also, it helps build their muscles actually, which is something I learned when you're riding a horse. You got to work your core, which is really good. And then also, of course, the graduate students also then get to be volunteers or even provide employment for them or get vocational training, working with the animals. In addition, they recently got some miniature horses that then actually they take out to local hospitals, and the graduate students get to learn how to take care of horses and interact with the patients at the hospital, like with children that maybe have cancer. These are all actually therapeutic horses that have been already previously trained, so they're totally safe. In addition, they also have other different animals like the pigs and the chickens and whatnot that the students can also interact with. So this is great that they're literally incorporating the animals, which is the new addition, which helps out the students to feel more loved and connected with nature, literally. So I'm not really going to focus on this, but it's amazing work that they're doing here. And if you are a school or other organization, you could contact this school because they're happy to share how they did it. They also do give tours if you come down, and then you can actually see the facilities, which is actually spotless. So you guys can model this, in your community, because I think this is an amazing model, because I don't know if there's any other schools that actually, do this kind of program. Anyways, I want to head down to the garden area and the farm, which is, why I'm here today, because they're doing some amazing work along these lines as well. All right, guys, so now we're here at the school, and these are some of the raised beds where they actually teach the elementary through high school students about gardening, about growing food, which is amazing. They just actually dug up this maybe some sweet potatoes over here in these beds over here. Just harvested them recently, so the kids got to do that. And then this bed they have planted out. It's kind of end of the summer season. The cucumbers just came out. They got some marigold, some cruciferous vegetables. They just planted dill actually over here. And this is how the, you know, these beds are not original, because 15 years ago when they started, they had original maybe 2 or 3 raised beds that, you know, was amazing, that the, you know, the people would see that the kids were connecting with nature. Right, which is, I mean, we're living in nature. We should all be living in nature. Unfortunately, everybody's on screens these days. So I think having a connection with nature is super important for, you know, for everybody, for every student out there. And so that's how this started. And then actually one of the parents actually who was helping out with teaching the gardening basically, you know, thought like, hey, well, maybe we could start a farm here. And this parent actually started planting like 200 blueberry and blackberry plants or bushes. So let's show you guys those next. All right, guys, so this is where this farm started. Aside from a few raised beds the school already had, they one of the parents actually convinced the principal or whoever's in charge to basically put in berries. So that's why this farm is called Berry Good Farm, because that's where it's all started. They basically have 200 blueberries. These are now, some of these are 15 years old. And actually the tip from the head farmer here is that actually the blueberries form the berries on new growth. So they basically chopped them down or trimmed them up. And then this last year they had the biggest harvest, I think over 200 pounds, or I don't know, some crazy amount of berries this year. And then over on this side, they have the thornless, right? Very important, especially when you work with kids, is the thornless blackberries to harvest. And then, you know, one of the local parents actually brought down his tractor to basically prepare this area and get it planted out. And then later, of course, a structure came over because they found the biggest pest for the berries were the birds. So this structure kind of keeps all the birds out, or most of them out anyways. So yeah, that's where this farm started. And at the end of this episode, we're very lucky because we had that very parent that actually you know, put these berries in place so we could learn about what he thought about, because you know, his son was a student here and why he wanted to put in berries. And then we're gonna flip the camera and show you guys what, you know, that start has grown into now. All right, guys, so that start has literally grown into, like, I can't even count how many raised beds they have now, where they have grown, you know, different kinds of fruits and vegetables in the beds. And then nowadays they're growing mostly flowers, because they found they have a cut flower program for the students and the postgraduates that then get to do things like flower arrangement. They also, of course, have a culinary program where the younger students actually get the food grown from the farm, such as the lettuce, in like a meal every single day. Like 20% of the food that is served at the school is literally from the farm, which is amazing. Also, of course, they have a business where they make basically dog biscuits. And actually some of the food from the farm, such as the moringa, is dried up and powdered and actually put in to the dog biscuits, along with the sweet potatoes actually that were just harvested. So these are all creating like little micro businesses for some of the postgraduates, so that they could all stay inside this community, which they like is a second family to a lot of the students, right? The parents know when they drop their students off here, which is actually a nice centralized location here in Jacksonville off the 295, which I guess you could get to this school maybe 40 minutes from anywhere in Jacksonville or the surrounding area. You know, they feel safe, you know, leaving their children, you know, here at the school as a second safe home instead of at home. You know, and I've actually recently talked to some parents with special needs children, and they can take, you know, immense amount of time, and they don't want to trust their kids, you know, at other places. So like, this is a safe place to come for the people that live here in Jacksonville. So that's amazing. Anyways, I mean, they have a lot of different garden beds. They have some of the different students, you know, working in the background. They do composting. They have lots of fruit trees, and actually a lot of the landscaping is actually done in edibles, which is another amazing thing that I hope would happen at all the different schools around our country. All right, guys, so this is the school track that some of the kids like run around to get exercise, or the staff can come around and get exercise. And it's just really cool to me that when you're walking around the track, I mean, they got the nice grassy area inside it, but outside you can see we got, you know, like grapefruit tree here, other citrus trees around it, and navel orange right next to the camera. They got avocado, they got different kinds of plums, even sugar cane growing. All different kinds of fruit trees basically adorn around the track where the kids would get their exercise, so they could walk around and maybe even like run around, and they're like, oh, I see a ripe fruit, and they pick it and eat it, you know? Like, that's just super amazing. You know, that's the kind of world that I hope to live in one day, when every school track has edible fruit around it, so when they're hungry after their gym class, they can snack on fresh fruit instead of going to the vending machines and getting the doggone candy bars. All right, guys, so a lot of some of the raised bed garden has actually got converted from growing vegetables into flowers, pretty flowers. And actually they have a flower CSA that you could join for a number of weeks and get fresh flowers, you know, for your home. They also will do like special events like weddings and all these other things for people, where they actually get an order in, and then they'll harvest the flowers and make arrangements. In addition, behind we also have some students actually just harvesting the butterfly pea, which actually they use, that actually I drank earlier because they use it in their little cafe here on site to make a butterfly tea, which is like nice and like blue, which I love. And then they add a little bit of lemonade, which I didn't get, which will then make the color a nice, like really cool magenta color. So, you know, that's how they're using a lot of the raised beds, because evidently there's more money in cut flowers than vegetables. So if you're a farmer, you might want to remember that and start incorporating cut flowers, because a lot of people love to look at flowers, but unfortunately most people don't like to eat their vegetables. My goal with this channel, of course, is to change that and get everybody eating more vegetables. So the students, you know, working here in the farm area get a lot of experience doing different aspects of farming. You know, right behind they have the composting area where they compost the food scraps, the yard waste, and the garden waste. In addition, in the future, they hope to be, you know, utilizing the horse waste, or the horse poop, to turn into some valuable compost that they can then also use on the farm, and maybe make an enterprise out of it to sell to local people to, you know, enrich gardens with an organic waste product. All right, guys, so I was really glad I came to the farm or the school today, and my favorite thing, the favorite plant actually that they're growing here that I was not even aware of, and they actually have a little one in the greenhouse that I'll show you guys in a minute. But this is the Dwarf Barbados Cherry. I was not aware about this because this is the most cold tolerant Barbados cherry. It's more cold tolerant, you know, and we are here in a zone 9A technically, right, than the large Barbados cherry. And you can see this thing is like littered with all these little fruits that I touch, and they just basically drop off because they're all ripe this time of year, which is totally amazing. We're gonna go ahead and try one. And I'll tell you guys, it tastes similar to our Barbados cherry, but the thing is, there's a lot of seed and less flesh. So this may not be desirable for many people, but you know, to me, this is more of a wild type that's not been domesticated, get nice and large. And guess what? Wild type plants typically, but not always, are more hardy than their hybridized cousins. So I've definitely been eating a few of these berries, and I'm saving the seeds myself to grow these in my zone 9A. I'm really excited about how this will do. They also can be propagated by cuttings. Now, aside from pointing out my favorite plant here, I also want to point out these signs. They have signs. This is a sign: North Florida School of Special Education, Very Good, Bloom's partner, Nona Rawls and H. Taylor Jones Foundation. This is one of the ways they make this whole farm and the school possible, is by getting donations from people like you, from foundations, from, you know, companies, from businesses, or just individuals that want to donate some of their money and support the work that they're doing here. And if you want to support them, I will post a link down below to their website so you guys can show your support and even support some of the student you know, micro businesses that they operate here that keeps the programs running. All right, guys, so you can see behind me part of the farm, And then also in front of me, what you guys can't see are they have tables with basically plant starts. They do sell some plant starts throughout the year, I guess, especially during the seasons, and make those available. I guess they have a Thursday market that they'll set up here at the school that you can come in and buy things from, you know, the dog bakery micro business, the culinary, you know, micro business, the, you know, dog treat micro business, the flower micro business, or the farm micro business that they have on site to show your support and support them. In addition, I mean, this property is just an amazing school at that. Like, I could only wish and dream that I went to school this beautiful that had like a lot of edible landscaping, nice open areas, because this was donated land, I guess, some of it. And it's a total of 7 to 8 acres for the property. You know, I think maybe 3 acres on this side and 4 acres over on the other side that had the barn along with the new school building. And then of course, along the property, there are many different plants that grow year round here, such as the moringa, which they just trim their moringa down that they will then dehydrate and powder up the leaves. And they used to sell that as a tea, which I would encourage them to bring that back to sell it as a tea, but also more importantly, make a green powder out of it that can be sold to people, because people love using the you know, moringa powder in smoothies and in different recipes. You could add it in. I know they do add it into their dog treats. So you're gonna have super, you know, healthy dogs because they're feeding it the locally grown moringa that was dried by the students. In addition, I do hope in the future they get to use this, you know, tree or little shrub plant that has been growing great here. At present time, they just use it as a landscape plant, and I hope that the culinary department will find an amazing use for this. This is known as the Chaya, or in some countries it's known as the tree spinach. This makes amazing leaves, and they have just so many chayas that are just not getting harvested. The main thing about this is that this is a plant that contains cyanogenic glycosides, so these chaya leaves definitely need to be properly cooked before consumption, or they can be toxic. I can only imagine maybe like using this and cooking it down, like boiling it into like a boiled spinach, and then you know, putting a nice sauce or dressing on it, and serving it to the kids along with the lettuce that they grow here, because they have, endless amounts of chaya. And I would really love to see the kids and also just people of Jacksonville, use this amazing plant that grows so well as a landscape plant in this area. I mean, this plant grows, wild literally on my property in Puerto Rico. During the winter time, this may go a little bit dormant, but it'll come back in full force once it heats back up in the spring, and there are just always tons and plenty of leaves to eat. I think next up, we're gonna take you into the greenhouse over yonder and show you guys around. All right, guys, now I'm gonna walk you into the greenhouse. Once again, this is basically used for production for like the lettuce that is grown for the students at their meals, is actually grown inside the greenhouse. They're using aquaponics. They also have several hydroponic tables, and also they start the seedlings for their aquaponics tables inside as well. So let's check it out. All right, guys, so inside the greenhouse, it's nice, clean, and orderly. And on this side, they basically have 2 big fish tanks where they have the tilapia. And then beyond that, you can see they just expanded their aquaponic system where they grow the lettuce, and then they just added on this new area. They normally use these kind of channels in hydroponics, but they're running their aquaponic water through there instead of using the traditional raft system, which there's a lot more cleaning involved with a raft system. And so this way they find it's a lot easier to clean, because you just basically got the like gutters to clean instead. And so this is like a nice, amazing system. Underneath, if you guys can see, they basically have all the sweet potatoes that were recently harvested. And then we're gonna move the camera around. And over on this side, they basically have hydroponic systems. So they have like flood and drain tables or ebb and flow tables with things like the basil. They love the African basil a lot here, does really well. They also planted traditional basil they're kind of experimenting with. They have a 3-year-old papaya tree that's been giving them fruit right there. And then they have some tower gardens where they're growing the lettuce as well as the basil. The culinary department basically just would buy a lot of basil from like other distributors in the area and said, well, hey, they said, can you grow the basil here? So now they started growing the basil, and now that the culinary department doesn't have to buy basil from a local farm and or local distributors. And basil, of course, is one of the herbs that does not travel and ship well. So I'm so glad they're growing more that the students are going to get to eat, that actually is even healthier food than money can buy from the traditional agriculture system. All right, guys, so in this area of the greenhouse, they focus on all the different plant starts that they will use here on farm and then also make available to the public. And they have all different kinds, like cucumbers, tomatoes, leafy greens, depending on the time of year. Also a lot of the flowers that they end up planting outside will be started in here as well. I see a lot of lemongrass in the back, and the students do like all the seeding and a lot of the work to basically make these plants happen. I did learn a fun thing that the students, they do often buy pelletized seeds, that are a little bit larger, because dealing with small seeds, may be challenging for a lot of people. And so this way they're able to more easily, put the seeds in, get them transplanted, and grow up into large plants. So actually, I think this is a rosemary plant. They're selling for like $5 here. Once again, when you buy the plants or you make a donation, that really supports these programs, because at present time, and hopefully this does change in the future, these programs are not self-sustainable yet. Although hopefully in the future they have some expansion plans, maybe just got a new 6-acre property somewhere that they're going to be expanding and making this more of a long-term solution for the students and postgraduates here. I think the final part of this episode, I want to just go ahead and interview the parent that basically put in the berry farm, why it's called Berry Good Farms. And then we're going to go ahead and interview the garden manager to learn more about the programs and the amazing work they're doing here at the school. Okay guys, so I have a special treat for you guys. I have Tim Armstrong, the parent of a special needs student previously here at the school, that literally put in that berry garden and the namesake, the Berry Good Farms, right? He literally was probably instrumental in getting this started. So Tim, what has been your experience working with the school and convincing the people in charge here to get this whole place going? And how do you feel about it now and what's happened, because you're no longer involved with it?
Well, I am involved in a little way. My son still takes the post-grad program. He volunteers in the Barkin Biscuits program. But when he was in about the 3rd grade, we were mainstreaming in the public school system in Jacksonville, and he was getting frustrated with just not being happy with school and the teachers. And we started looking for a special needs school, and we looked all over, and we came upon North Florida School of Special Education. Small classrooms, great teacher to student ratio, and just such a warm atmosphere. And I wanted to bring him here, and we did. And as a parent, you're required to volunteer some hours at the school, and most of my hours were in 2 or 3 little raised beds they had out behind the school. And I couldn't help but notice how much the students really thrived in that environment, enjoyed working in those raised beds. Happenstance as it was, I heard Will Allen speak at one of the agricultural conferences in Florida about that time. And it inspired me, his story about bringing inner city kids out of the ghetto of Chicago and Milwaukee and teaching them about good food and work ethics. And it just resonated. I could do that with the kids at the school. Why couldn't they create a little micro enterprise like that? So approached Sally Hazlip and the board of directors at the school and made a presentation about creating a farm project at the school. And that's what started Very Good Farms. I got a bunch of friends of mine from the Veterans Farm and a bunch of parents and volunteers to come out. We planted 200 blueberries and 100 blackberries in one day. And I really enjoyed running that project for 10 years, and I'm happy to see it still going. There's the true test of a project. Does it fly without you? So I've been gone for a little over 3 years now, and it's looking as beautiful it was when I was working here, and that's very heartwarming for me.
Wonderful. Then how does that bring you to the work you're doing now?
Well, and a lot of those, so one of the things I noticed was a lot of those students that were working here needed employment. And so we had started, even as I was working here, had started hiring some of those employees at Eat Your Yard Jacks. And it's a big part of our nonprofit mission at Eat Your Yard Jacks. And, you know, I love introducing, students and parents and people about unusual herbs like this shisho that, that is growing all throughout the garden, and it's a traditional sprinkle on sushi. They're growing things like fennel, and, introducing students to tastes that they might not ever get experience with. They grow a lot of plants for their cocktails. They do some amazing events here, and this Mojito Man has been a recipient at a lot of the cocktail dinners. And then I know this morning at our little snack you had the butterfly pea from the cafe, and that's a fun one for them. And then things like borage, it's a great anti-inflammatory. It's a leaf that tastes like cucumber. And so introducing people to all that, has been a big part of what makes me happy, and sharing with these students and with the parents and in the community. I know they do a little community market here, and I know Jordan will talk a little bit more about that, and I'm super excited to share with all your listeners.
Wonderful. So if you want to know what Tim's doing now, I'll put a link down below to the video I already made at his place, actually yesterday. So you can learn more about Eat Your Yard Jacks. And if you live in the Jacksonville area, definitely visit the school here to support them and the plants they're selling, but also Eat Your Yard Jacks. He has even more plants to go crazy with.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's go ahead and interview Jordan, the garden manager here now. All right, guys, so now the pleasure of interviewing Jordan Williams, the Very Good Farms farm manager here for you guys, so that you guys can learn more about the farm and how it operates here. So Jordan, tell me more about the farm and why you guys are here.
Yeah, so here at Very Good Farms, we operate a transition and postgraduate program where our students are directly involved with helping us maintain and grow everything that we do in the garden. And so that includes everything that goes along with being a farmer, from seeding. We do everything by seed here, or propagations, and then everything that follows after that, from putting the plants in the ground to maintaining the plants, fertilizing them, pruning them, making sure that they're pest free, and then the processing afterwards, after harvest. And then we also incorporate some community aspect. We do a market weekly, and then we have some local partners that we work with as well to get our product out into the community.
Wonderful. So I know you farm in many different ways. Like, you want to share all the different ways you farm, and which way has the students and the postgraduates really kind of gravitated to the most?
Yeah, so we're an educational farm, and we have a lot of different ways of growing here. We have aquaponics, we have hydroponics, we've got raised bed flower gardening and herbs. We have lots of varieties of fruit trees and bushes as well. So it's a really unique space where we're growing a large variety of plants, fruits, and vegetables. And so I can teach the students, about each type of plant and each way of growing and the sustainability behind that. I think the students, they really like getting their hands in the dirt. I think there's a therapeutic aspect to that they enjoy, and I enjoy myself. And so, they really shine when they're out working in the garden, actually getting their hands on the plants, putting them in the ground, helping us with everything that goes into farming.
Cool. So if somebody lives in the local area and want to support the farm here, how can they do that?
So first off, come out and see us every Thursday. We have a weekly market down at our horse barn, our equestrian center. That runs from 9:30 to 1:30. And so you can come out and shop all the products that we have to offer from the garden, as well as all the other micro enterprises that the school has to offer, which includes dog biscuits, art, some culinary items as well. And so they can support that way. We also have a volunteer program. We have a sign up link on our website, verygoodfarms.org. It's a sign up genius where we have slots available for people to come out and work with us in the garden, work alongside the students. And that's very helpful. They get that social interaction. It's a little bit of a reverse inclusion aspect. So our students are getting to work with people that they may not know, and that's teaching them about communication, and then they're able to share their experiences and their knowledge with people who are coming to learn about gardening.
Wow, amazing. So tell me about a moment, you know, from your, you know, to all your time working here that really impacted you on how important the work you're doing here.
Yeah, I think for our students, we have a range of capabilities with our students, and so really seeing them shine and just really the love. I would say that the love at this farm is one of the things that just stands out. You know, everybody is welcome. You know, everybody is always lending a helping hand. If somebody needs assistance with a job, there's always somebody there to give that love and come in and help out. So it's really special.
Wonderful. So since you've been, you know, farming here for so long, tell my viewers that maybe live in the Jacksonville area, like the easiest 3 vegetables and fruit trees to grow.
Yeah, so as a farmer, I really love plants that will produce with very little effort, and one of my favorites is African blue basil, which we grow as a cut flower, but you can also use it as a culinary herb. In Jacksonville, it gets pretty hot in the summer, so there's only a few varieties of plants that will thrive with the humidity that we get, and the African blue basil is definitely one of those. Sunflowers, you know, as a cut flower grower, that's another one in the heat of the summer that will just pump out production for us. And it's a pretty simple anatomy also, so it's easier for our students to understand when the right time to harvest is, and they have nice big seeds as well, so the students are able to really help out with all of the sunflower production. And then let's see, one other one, I've really grown to love dahlias here recently. They're a beautiful flower. They produce well in the spring and in the fall here, so I can get 2 rounds per year, and they are super productive. I can cut them back pretty hard, get nice long stems off of them, and about every 3 days we're getting a pretty good harvest off of the dahlias. Yeah.
And then 3 fruits.
So 3 fruits, I love my stone fruit. Our nectarines and peaches do really well here. Of course, the blueberries, we are very good farms, so we get about 100 pounds of blueberries each season off of those. And then I really love the persimmons. The flavor of a nice ripe persimmon is like candy. It's so sweet, and now that it's fall, we have a couple of those ripening, and we love to snack on them as a group with our farm students.
Wonderful. And then any final words of wisdom you'd like to share with everybody out there that's watching this video today about, you know, you as a farm manager and also the school here?
Yeah, well, definitely check out our website, North Florida School of Special Education.org. You can find out all about all that we have to offer as a school. The farm, we grow lots of starter plants for anybody at home who wants to do their own gardening. We've got the stuff seasonally that will thrive for your gardens at home. So definitely reach out, check out our website, come see us at market. And I also, you know, for your YouTube audience, they may relate. When I first started gardening, I did a lot of self-teaching, just watching YouTube videos of people in similar zones to where Jacksonville is. And I always joke that as a gardener, I'm a graduate of YouTube University. So definitely a lot to learn out there, and it just takes a little bit of experimenting. I think that's the unique thing about gardening is you just have to try it. You have to kind of jump in with both feet and try something out, and you might surprise yourself. Something might grow for you, and you can grow what you like to eat. I think that's a good tip is if you like tomatoes, try tomatoes, or if you like eggplant, try eggplant. So yeah.
All right, wonderful, Jordan. So the website is verygoodfarms.org.
Yep.
Wonderful, yeah, so I'll post that link down below as well as a link to the school so you guys can learn more about this amazing school. And hopefully, you know, if you're a parent and have a special needs child, then, you know, try to get your school to put in a garden, or even just regular schools. We should all have gardens around the country, and then even more so, you know, incorporating programs like the farm here, where they could, you know, actually after the school is done, have like the postgraduates and students continue to work and provide education and create income. You know, I mean, this is just so amazing work they're doing here. I want this model to be, you know, duplicated all over the country, because it is so amazing. And, you know, thank you, Jordan, for having me out today, and the administrators here that I met with earlier, you know, because I just love this place. And if I had special needs kids, they would be going here if I lived in Jacksonville, all right? So if you guys enjoyed this content today and want more videos like this, please be sure to give this a big thumbs up. Also, more importantly, share this with other, teachers, administrators, parents, or if you live in the local Jacksonville area, so you can learn more about this amazing place and hopefully get this duplicated around the country. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new and upcoming episodes. I've coming every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up, what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. Make sure you click the little bells to get notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check our past episodes. The past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 1,700 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to teach you guys all about how to grow your own food at home. And to remind you guys, we are in the Zone 9A, and my other houses are in 2 Zone 9As, Northern California and Las Vegas, Nevada, which is a lot different than this Zone 9A, but I see a lot of the similarities. So with that, my name is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep on growing.